Hello everybody and welcome to the first of what could be many Madden NFL 16 online game highlights. So just to kick it off, Madden 16 was released a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago now actually. I've been playing it online pretty heavy. When I play Madden I like to play most of it online. So I've been getting lots of online games in. I'm not a bad Madden player and I'm not a great Madden player. I have a win-loss of approximately 2 wins to every 1 loss, so I'm far from terrible, but I'm far from the best. But one of the things I do pride myself on is the fact that I do play with a variety of teams from the lowest level to, the very best. So unlike lots of the people out there, I don't just pick the best team every time and just try and get matched up against, one of the weaker teams in the league. I do like to play with them all. So this game I chose the Jets. I'll talk more about the Jets later on because I am a big fan of the Jets, and this year the Jets were my underdog pick for a potential Super Bowl run. Although it has been widely criticised by lots of the people I know, they are still this is just before week 3 of the NFL season. The Giants have already played the Redskins, and this is they are still my pick. Obviously going 2-0 at the start of the season, they are still looking very promising as my pick. So just to tell you a little bit about myself, the way I play Madden, and my opinions on the NFL in general. I am a Giants fan. So obviously struggling now to start the season, not the best for us, but arguably we haven't played too terribly, and we are 1-2. Potentially should have been 3-0, but bad individual decisions throughout the game have just ended up costing us fairly big. But lots of Giants fans here. We're going to be diehard. We can't really complain too much because I have a lot of faith in Eli. I have a lot of faith in Tom. I do not have a lot of faith in Ben McAdoo, the OC. But apart from that, it's going pretty strong. I believe in the team that we have built. Maybe there are several weaknesses, but maybe I'll talk about that later in the video, maybe another video. So since Madden 16 is a fairly new release, I guess I should just talk quickly about some of the new features of the game that have made it a lot better or a lot worse. So since I play a lot of online, the first feature I'm really going to talk about is the fact that when you head into an online game now, you can no longer see what team you are playing against. Now, I am a big fan of this because anyone who has played previous Madden games online knows that you spend half your time when you're searching for a game trying to pick a team that the other person's happy with, and if they're not happy with the team you picked, they end up leaving, and it just goes on and on until you can find someone who's happy, and you end up playing with 2 strong teams every time. The good thing about this is that you see a lot of weaker teams now. Even though nothing's technically changed and you're still going to come up against bigger teams, lots of people feel more confident, I guess, not knowing when they go into the game who they're going to be playing. It's just worked out a lot better. There's a lot more weaker teams, and obviously someone like myself who plays with a great variety of teams doesn't make a difference anyway. I enjoy the challenge of playing against big teams, but yeah, it's definitely a massive boost to the Madden series. Makes finding a game a lot easier, and you don't have to sit for half an hour choosing your opponent before you actually jump into a game. So one of the more significant changes that has been made to Madden this year is the 3 new catching styles. So we take it down. I think it's possession catches, run after the catch, and the aggressive catch. Now, I've played this game obviously pretty much since release, so the possession catch is a great addition. It's a really cool new feature, perhaps a bit overpowered in the sense that lots of players can now make catches they wouldn't be able to make in real life, just because lots of toe tapping sideline catches that players like only Heartline can make in real life, and now we've got pretty much any NFL player can do it if you press A. So that's a problem, but I still am quite a fan of that new addition. The only problem with the new additions is obviously the aggressive catch, something that has been widely criticised since Madden has been released. Fairly difficult to stop. I'm sure if you've been watching the video you'll have seen it several times from the Falcons. Now, I was really bad at stopping it when I first bought the game, and I complained quite heavily and said this game is going to be broken. Has my opinion changed on the aggressive catch that much? Arguably no. It still seems rather overpowered, although I have found some ways to try and prevent it. It is still quite a difficult thing to stop. For lower skill players, I can understand why the frustration is there. It frustrates me even now. I've figured out a way to stop it some of the time. Obviously, you're never going to be able to stop it 100% of the time, just because even in real life, you wouldn't be able to stop it 100% of the time. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Maybe they'll patch it a bit. But as far as I can see, it's also just going to go wide receiver advantage every time. If you get one-on-one, man-to-man coverage, pretty much going down the field, if you just throw it up, it seems to be a fairly consistent play in favour of the attacker. The only real way I have noticed of how to disrupt the play is pressing X to swat the ball down, and obviously it takes a lot of manual user control, can be fairly difficult to do. Going Y to go after the ball for the interception is the worst thing you can do, because it will always end up being a 50-50 catch and the wide receiver will get it every time. So against players like, for example, obviously we're playing with the Jets, I'm talking about Brandon Marshall, it's very powerful and I'm not sure I like it. I would have liked to just have had the possession catch. The run after the catch I don't think has played that big a part. I can't really see that much of a difference. I don't think it was really necessary, but the possession catch was, of course, quite an important and useful addition to the game. So in regards to Madden, not much else has changed. They continue to push Madden Ultimate Team game mode, which I still do not like at all, really. I'm a big fan of FIFA, so I play a lot of FIFA Ultimate Team, but I just feel with the NFL, there's not a great variety of players. Obviously, there's so many leagues in the world of football or soccer for Americans that with Ultimate Team you can it's just so much more diverse. There's just such a bigger universe out there. With Ultimate Team they really have to push the same players and giving them different versions of cards, legends and that type of thing. They're trying to help, but it's just not quite to the standard of the Ultimate Team from FIFA. It's also largely based on how much money you are willing to spend, which Ultimate Team on any game is largely focused around that, because obviously EA wants to make a fair bit of cash throughout the duration of the game. But with FIFA you still have a chance to make a good team and make a good go without spending lots of money, and it's fairly easily done. With Ultimate Team, if you want to have a successful time, it's really hard to do it if you're not willing to spend packs. Now I'm not willing to spend money on packs, it's just not something I want to do, and it frustrates me that I can't get any good players without spending this money. I mean, you jump into the game, you've got all bronze, and unless you play about 50 games against the computer, that is really not going to change or get more significant. So you have to be a really die-hard Ultimate Team fan if you want to be successful without buying packs, and that's just not something I'm really interested in. So I don't spend much time on MUT, as they say. Obviously just online or perhaps connected franchise draft with one of my friends. So yeah, that's pretty much all for Madden right now. If we talk about NFL in general, I'm playing with the Jets. So I played about 10 games back to back, and I recorded them all, and they were all pretty successful. Whether I won or lost, I thought they were all pretty good footage. So I'll be trying to record and upload them. But I'll talk about the Jets, obviously, since I picked the Jets for today's game, and obviously they were my preseason underdog pick. To talk about why they are my underdog pick, I mean, you start with the new coach, Todd Bowles, obviously DC for the Arizona Cardinals. Did a lot of great things in Arizona, and he came in to what was already a defense-based team, and you had to like the chances of what he was bringing with him. He did so many impressive things with the defense in Arizona that you just knew that it was time for a change with the Jets. Obviously, when I said I'm a Jets fan earlier, I do not like the Jets at all. Obviously, being a Giants fan, I'm pretty despiseful, should that be a word, of the Jets. But I can appreciate their talent that they've got on their depth chart since Todd Bowles has arrived, and that's one of the things why I feel that they are going to be such a powerhouse, I could say, in my opinion, this year. Obviously, through the first 2 weeks, 2 fairly good wins. Week 1 was a slow start, as it is for most teams in the league, but week 2 really dominated and put on a good performance in some primetime TV. So yeah, we start with the QB. You look at Ryan Fitzpatrick, and when Geno Smith got injured, you automatically knew this was an upgrade. Now, perhaps coaches were always saying that, Geno Smith's a man for the future, he has a lot of potential, but any fan knows that when you're watching Geno Smith, it is painful to watch, and you know that Ryan Fitzpatrick may not be a great quarterback, but he is a very solid QB, and he can do just a fair variety of things. We saw it with his time with the other teams such as the Bills. You've seen that he can make the throws, and he's never going to be a great quarterback. He's not going to be one of the best, but he is fairly consistent, and we know he can do some of the harder aspects of being a QB. And then you go straight to the running back with Chris Ivory. We saw a lot of him last year. They got new additions, but obviously still Chris Ivory is going to be the main man. Last year he put on a hell of a show, and this year it doesn't look like anything's going to change. We know he's got the power and the speed. He's looking like a top quality running back once again, so Jets fans really can't complain about anything they see from him, and I'm sure he's going to be consistent throughout the years here. And then you look at the wide receiver, you had Eric Decker for a year. Eric Decker, for some reason, all the critics have seemed to have forgotten about Eric Decker, because one year when he arrived in the Jets, there were big things expected of him, and not as much was received, but I think that can hardly be unexpected if you look at the fact that you do have Geno Smith throwing him the football. It would be a struggle for any wide receiver. So for some reason now he's not considered as good as he once was, which is silly since it was only a few years ago since he was making great plays, but critics are very fast to change their opinions on players in this league. So with the addition of Brandon Marshall, obviously another great pickup. It looks promising for the wide receiver core of the Jets. And with Fitzpatrick getting the ball now instead of Geno Smith, I really do like their odds. I think they're going to be quite a threat running and through the air. Look at the depth chart, and it's just fantastic. The tight ends, everyone knows, are already brilliant. So, in my opinion, this is one of the most well-rounded teams on offense and defense in the league this year. It should be one of the best. If they don't have some sort of significant collapse, I'm sure they'll end up being a real threat, and that is a very serious thing. Most of my friends don't seem to believe me. They seem to think I'm just over dramatizing, if you will, but this is truly what I can see happening this year with the Jets. So the offense is pretty strong. Defense, it's always been quite a defense orientated team, and now with Todd Bowles coming in and bringing in Revis again, Cromartie, it's that wide receiver core, that cornerback core is absolutely deadly, and there's no doubt about it. People say Cromartie struggled in preseason and training camp. It's still gonna be one of the best CB duos in the league, and with Buster as well as the nickel corner, it is literally one of the best. There's no doubt you can put in that situation. People will always doubt players. People always want to critique players. But whatever your opinion, Darrelle Revis is still strong. People may say he's lost a step or he's not as brilliant as he once was. Matter of opinion. You can say, oh, look at the stats here. You watch him and you're still impressed by him, and he still has that aura of fear about him. And then you look at the D-line. That's been fantastic. It's been fantastic for years. Linebackers, still fantastic. Safeties, fantastic. I mean, I don't really have enough time to go into great depth about those three sectors now, but we all know them. We've all seen the footage, and they're looking like one of the best defensive teams this year, and I'm sure they'll carry it out. They've started strong. They're going to finish strong. If they don't get too many injuries, I literally can see them making a playoff run, and maybe that is a bit excessive, but it's definitely part of their potential. So, as you've seen, your game going on in the background, just about to finish up. Fairly interesting game, I thought. One of my first games with the Jets, and I feel it was a pretty good game. It was definitely a lot of fun to play, and I'm hoping it was a lot of fun to watch. So now, just to wrap up, I have a lot more games already recorded, just got to edit them down and perhaps do a voiceover for them. This was a fairly long video, so if you managed to stay all the way through, I'm pretty damn impressed with you, if I'm totally honest. So if you did like and make it to the end, that's always a good start. So if you could just like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video, hopefully. Thanks.